Hello, welcome to my short presentation. My name is Tamla Terry. This is Multimedia Development and Implementation course. And I am going to present a short video about police brutality, and the title of my presentation is Police Brutality or Justice. So what is police brutality? Police brutality is the use of excessive and or unnecessary force by police officers when dealing with civilians in our community. Excessive force means a force well beyond what is really actually necessary in order to retain or handle a situation when engaging with civilians, individuals in the community. Police brutality can be present in many forms, in a number of forms. The most obvious one is physical, which is what has been exhibited in these high-profile cases here lately in the media. But other forms of brutality consist of police officers using nerve gas, batons, pepper spray, guns, all in order to physically intimidate or even intentionally hurt civilians. Police brutality can also take the form of false arrest, verbal abuse, sexual abuse, police corruption, racial profiling, political repression, and the improper use of tasers. The source here to give the definition of police brutality was from Law Dictionary. And I want to show you on the following two slides, two short videos of police brutality, and you be the judge. I would like to warn you that these two videos are very disturbing.
Viewer discretion.
After watching these two videos, of course, you will make your own judgment or have your own opinion as to if the force that was used in these two videos, if they were considered police brutality. The question that normally arises is if justice is equal to all people, all Americans. Is justice totally equal? Let's take a look at some numbers on the next slide. The protests that we are experiencing now or viewing on television and in the media here lately is pretty much questioning, is justice really equal to all Americans? After watching those videos, you be the judge. Again, you form your own opinion. And based on people's experiences, you may come away from that with different opinions. A lot of mainstream America believe that everything is not always about race, that the victims in these cases that are here in the media here lately, that the officer, there was probable cause to kill these young men. So that's the question. Let's take a look at some numbers. So let's take a look at some numbers here. The first stat says that white officers kill black suspects twice a week in the United States, on an average of 96 times per year. Wow, that is a really high number. FBI data reported around a quarter of the 400 annual deaths reported to federal authorities by local police departments were white on black shootings. What's more unbelievable is that the analysts indicated that 18% of black suspects were under the age of 21 when killed by the police officer, as opposed to 8.7% of white suspects. There was someone who analyzed, his name was Alpert, and he pointed out that around 98.9% of excessive force allegations are ultimately ruled as justifiable. In just one of the many examples, NYPD almost exclusively shoots blacks or Hispanic suspects. Why is race and police brutality even an issue in the United States? Well, as we know, if you learn American history, we all know that race has always been an issue from the infancy stages of this country. The stats that we previously went over in the previous slides indicate that there is a huge problem. The statistic on white cop on black suspect shootings, like we said earlier, is alarming in itself. But while race plays a critical role, the number of white cops shooting black people is just part of a larger problem. And again, that is a direct relation to overall race relations in the United States of America, which is supposed to be a melting pot. Black people across the United States are more likely to face discrimination in the criminal justice system and be harassed, arrested, and shot by police. Sadly, even the most extreme cases of police excess often end up in little punishment. So I have friends of a different nationality, different race, who we have different opinions. And I believe because we have two different experiences in our country, that is why we have different opinions. And this debate is a huge debate. And although we talk about it, I think that's helping the issue. You have to talk about an issue and do not pretend that it doesn't exist. I hear from people of a different race that the past is in the past. You wasn't a slave. I didn't enslave your ancestors. Different things like that. But I also think about, 9/11 is something that we never want to forget about. But race relation and slavery and discrimination, the civil rights movement, these are all things that African Americans should just get past and move forward and just pretend that we're not experiencing the discrimination and prejudice that we feel or experience. So let's take a look at a stat in reference to protesting. Protesting is a right here in the United States of America, as long as it is done peacefully. But let's dig deeper into protests involving unjust situations. Protests involving black people are more likely to attract police attention and the use of force to disperse them. The ACLU has intensely documented an immensely troubling pattern of police militarization, and found SWAT teams and other heavy-handed tactics are much more likely to be used against minority protesters than white protesters. These are facts. These are stats. This is not something that's made up. So we've talked about police brutality and how it plays a huge part in race relations in our country and in our communities. But let's take a look at a few possible resolutions. The first bullet point here: activists or civil rights activists and organizations, they want to change the probable cause grand jury process. So for example, the prosecutor who works with the police officers, they should not be the ones to possibly prosecute the police officers. It should be a special prosecutor assigned to police brutality cases, because they have so much bias. They know the police officers personally. They may even share the same ideas. The next one is police training. Police officers seem to react very quickly when trying to arrest a minority in a minority community. There should be some more physical training during the police academy process when they're learning to become a police officer. Body and dashboard cameras is also another possible resolution that can help minimize or decrease or do away with police brutality. We currently use dashboard cameras in many states throughout the country. But body cameras is also something that activists are working for, asking for. Diversity training is another point. Police officers who work in minority communities, a lot of them may have never even ever interacted with a person of color in their life before. So they are assigned to these communities with people who may possibly coming into the community and policing the community with biases and stereotypes of the people that live there. So diversity training is a huge way to help with police brutality. And then reassigning officers to their own communities. That's kind of work hand in hand. There should be police officers who are from that community, who know the people, police officers who have personal relationships with them, so that they can view them as a human being and not as a animal or someone who's always breaking the law. They don't come in with as many biases as police officers from other races and from other communities. I thank you so very much for listening to my presentation today. I hope you walk away with some insight or something you may have not been aware of prior to my presentation, and thank you for your attention.